You know, every now and then, it's a good idea to take a step back and think about the journey we've had in crypto. I found myself doing that earlier today. I was just staring at my screen watching the markets, and even though things are a bit down from recent highs, the total market cap is still over $3.6 trillion. That number is wild, especially when I think back to when I first entered the space in late 2017. Back then, the entire crypto market was sitting somewhere around $100 billion. That means it's grown over 36x, even after a dip. The point is, perspective matters. And if you're new to this space and worried that you've missed the boat, trust me, you're not late. In fact, you're still incredibly early. I remember feeling the same way when I started. Everyone does. It's normal to feel like the party's already started without you. But if you genuinely believe in this space like I did back then, you'll realize that time in the market changes everything. Eventually, you're not the newbie anymore. At this point, I've been around for nearly half the lifespan of the entire crypto market. And what's really amazing is this opportunity is available to everyone. Seriously. My personal net worth is unrecognizably higher today than it would have been without crypto. And that didn't come from doing anything special. It came from being here, learning, and not screwing it up. You have that same shot, the same opportunity, but the key, don't mess it up. It really comes down to personal responsibility. This market cap we're seeing today, $3.6 trillion, may seem huge, but fast forward 10 years, and that number is going to feel small. I'm confident we'll see it cross $10 trillion, $20 trillion, and eventually even $100 trillion. So if you're just getting started today, don't worry. If you stick around and stay smart, you won't feel late forever. You'll eventually become one of the folks who were early. Crypto is here for the long haul. At some point, we all have that aha moment where it finally clicks that this technology isn't going away. For me, that happened when I discovered XRP and realized it enabled entirely new kinds of business models, ones that simply couldn't exist without decentralized assets. That was a turning point. And years later, I'm still convinced. There has never been a better way to build wealth through investing than what crypto offers. But let me say this again, you can mess it up. So don't. So I came across a post this morning from a crypto influencer named Quentin. I've seen his stuff floating around before. He's got a decent following, over 229,000 people. This particular post really hit home for me, and I think it's worth sharing. Here's what he said. $80,000 for a car loan? Sweet ride, enjoy it. $150,000 in student debt? It's totally normal. $25,000 vacation on credit? YOLO. $10,000 in Bitcoin? Are you nuts? That's gambling. A society will cheer you on as you dig yourself into financial ruin, but the second you try to build wealth, total panic, and wow, ... He nailed it. Now look, I'm not here to bash anyone who has a car loan. I had one once too back in the day. But I've done a complete 180 in how I view debt, especially when it comes to credit. Sure, I still use credit cards, but I pay them off in full every single month. And honestly, if there's one thing that has crushed the financial health of everyday people, not just in America, but globally, it's this casual normalization of living off credit. It's like this massive trap that most folks walk right into, not realizing the long-term damage. And it's not always because they're reckless. It's just that they haven't been taught how dangerous misused credit really is. The way people are spending is wild. I'm seeing folks drop thousands on cars they don't even own outright, just financing it monthly. And hey, if that's your choice, do your thing. I'm not attacking anyone personally. But there are tons of people driving fancy cars ... that they don't really own. They're paying $600, $800, even $1,000 a month for that illusion of status. Now imagine this. Instead of shelling out that kind of cash for a depreciating asset, what if that money went into crypto instead? Even something like XRP or other top-tier projects. Can you picture what that would look like over the next 10 years? I mean, really imagine redirecting that $500 to $1,000 monthly into strategic crypto investments. The compounding potential is insane. That's the kind of move that leads to life-changing financial outcomes. But society doesn't. Talk about that. Society will celebrate you maxing out your cards for a flashy vacation or putting yourself underwater with debt for a luxury car. But the moment you say, hey, I'm putting money into crypto, suddenly you're irresponsible, reckless, or falling for a scam. It's completely backwards. The truth. This is how wealth is built. Strategic investing in assets with real long-term value. That's what sets people free financially. So shout out to those of you who already get this. You're not crazy. You're ahead of the curve. Just remember, this opportunity is wide open. Anyone can take advantage of it. You just have to play it smart, not mess it up. This is something I bring up every so often, and I wanted to shine a bit more light on it here because I think it's incredibly important, especially for those just getting started in crypto. You don't need to buy a trading course to succeed. In this space, you really don't. And yet tons of people feel like they have to. They get convinced that they need to become expert traders, jumping in and out of positions, reading charts 24/7, managing emotions like a robot. But here's the truth. You don't need to do any of that to build serious wealth in crypto. In fact, based on everything I've seen, and the data backs this up, people who try to trade actively often end up worse off. Meanwhile, someone like me, who does basically nothing after investing, will most likely outperform the majority of traders over time. Yes, there are exceptions. A tiny percentage of people are genuinely skilled at trading. They've got the discipline, it's the mindset, and the hours to dedicate to it. But for most people, that lifestyle is exhausting, filled with constant risk, stress, and emotional swings. It's not worth it. And that's why I say, doing nothing is actually a winning strategy, as long as you're holding strong, fundamentally valuable projects. Now, I saw this post today from Income Sharks, and it was a total mic drop. He said, all these accounts promising you millionaire status are raking in money from paid services and multiple revenue streams. Trading isn't easy, and they can't consistently do it themselves, so they sell the dream to you. First, they'll butter you up, tell you how special you are. There's nothing wrong with monetizing or having paid communities, but lying about how they made their money from trading is the problem. Sure, it's easier to win trades when you've got millions coming in to cover your losses, but the average person doesn't have that luxury. So please, be careful. That's facts. I'm not saying every single course or paid group is garbage. If someone wants to genuinely try trading and learn that skill, go for it. But just know what you're signing up for. Most people shouldn't even bother. And I'm not just sharing an opinion here, there's hard data. Studies show that 90% to 95% of traders lose money, both in crypto and in traditional markets. Google it, or ask ChatGPT if you want to double check. It's reality. So ask yourself, why chase a statistically losing path, spending money on groups or courses, when the numbers show a simple long-term investment strategy works better for most people? Here's what I suggest instead. Spread your investments across the strongest crypto projects, not meme coins, not hype plays, but functionally useful assets like XRP, then just wait. Let time and compounding returns do the work for you. That's how people are getting those 1,000%, 10,000% returns. Not by overtrading, not by using leverage. You don't need to juice anything, you need patience. Look, I'm not against people making money from their crypto content. Nothing wrong with monetizing a YouTube channel or running a paid group if it's done honestly. For example, I've been on YouTube since late 2018, and I've never had a sponsor by choice. Doesn't make me better than anyone. I'm just not focused on that. I might even take on a sponsor one day, who knows? But what I will never do is launch a trading course or try to sell you some get-rich-quick guide, because you don't need that. You don't need me to sell you anything. You can build life-changing wealth just by sticking to the basics. Dollar cost average, into quality crypto, stay diversified across top assets. Hold for the long term, take profits when it makes sense. That's it. No gimmicks, no secret sauce. Just time, patience, and discipline. Don't fall for the noise. So the reason I even came across that post from Income Sharks in the first place, it was actually shared by Frecky, who's part of the XRP community. That's where I first saw it. Now, for those who don't know, Frecky has been around since 2011. He's one of the true OGs in crypto and has decades of professional experience in the finance world, and it shows. The guy really understands this space, and there's a reason he's done so well financially. When he shared that post, he added a short caption that said, "I've got none." He was referring to the paid services and revenue streams these so-called trading gurus lean on. He made it clear. He's not a day trader, he's an investor. And what he said next really hit the nail on the head. I keep dollar cost averaging into solid altcoins. Let long-term liquidity cycles do the work to multiply my wealth. That's how I keep winning. That's exactly the approach I follow. It might not sound flashy or fast-paced. It's not some high adrenaline get-rich-quick strategy, but it works. It just freaking works. And I can tell you firsthand, there's nothing unique or special about me. I'm not some financial wizard. I'm just someone who took the time to understand what actually produces results. And this long-term, patient approach continues to deliver. You don't need gimmicks. You don't need trading signals. You don't need a dozen income streams or some secret insider newsletter. All you really need is the discipline to invest in strong projects. DCA consistently and wait for the market cycles to do what they always do. That's how you win. Yes, it's absolutely possible to get filthy rich in crypto. It's not an exaggeration. It's real. And I say that as just a regular guy. That's always been the core of my channel. A normal dude, not some finance expert, just someone Passionate about crypto, jumping in, learning, investing, and sharing what I discover. I've never claimed to be some Wall Street pro, and you don't have to be either. The opportunity is wide open to everyday people as long as you get exposure to the asset class and have the patience to let it play out. It's not that different from how I invest in the stock market. I'm not diving into the balance sheets of every company I'm exposed to. In fact, most of my traditional investing is in broad index ETFs, mainly ones that track the S&P 500. That gives me exposure to 500 vetted companies. I trust the market to do the vetting for me. You can do something similar with crypto. Just build your own version of an ETF. Invest in the top 10, 15, or 20 coins. These projects have already been vetted by the market. People believe in them, and they've risen to the top for a reason. XRP is a perfect example. It's been a top player for years, and there's a reason for that. I personally choose to just hold long term. I'm not trying to time the market or bounce in and out. I found that just staying in, riding the waves, consistently produces better results. And here's something I came across today. An article from Crypto Basic quoting a finance coach who said, "Dollar cost average in 2 XRP for 10 years to transform your financial future." Now, I don't know how many people will actually commit to that strategy, but just imagine where XRP could be a decade from now. Hope someone finds this video 10 years down the road and says, "Man, that guy was right. There are still so few people in XRP today." The upside is massive. It's already one of the early winners in the space, and as more people come into crypto, demand will rise. And with increased demand comes price appreciation. So ask yourself, can you really imagine DCAing into XRP for 10 years and somehow being down on that investment? Can't. I've got that kind of conviction, not just for XRP, but for the entire crypto market. Let time do the heavy lifting. Watch what happens. This post references Coach JV, a well-known figure in the crypto space with over 216,000 followers on X. And what he said really hit the mark. People will scroll endlessly on social media, splurge on Amazon, and finance a $70,000 car, but won't take a few hours to understand deflationary assets like Bitcoin and XRP, build a simple budget, and start dollar cost averaging over the long haul. That one habit alone could change their family's financial future forever. And honestly, he's 100% right. I'm not saying you literally have to DCA every single week for the next 10 years, but the idea behind it is spot-on, long-term. Exposure to the right assets can radically change your life. I'll use myself as an example. I've been in this space for almost 8 years now, and I've never cashed out to USD. I've just let my investments sit and grow. And the result? What I hold today is worth many multiples of what I originally put in. The gap isn't even close. That growth happened not because I'm a genius, but because I had patience, conviction, and didn't let myself get shaken out. More people are entering this space every year. These assets are more valuable and more recognized than ever. The demand continues to rise. That's the formula. Now let me ask you, do you think financing luxury items and living paycheck to paycheck is going to lead to life-changing wealth for your family? Probably not. But investing in something like XRP, a crypto that's already proven its place over the years, could be the smartest move you ever make. And I mean it when I say, if I didn't have the exposure I have to XRP and crypto in general, I'd have a hard time sleeping at night. That's how much I believe in it. And that belief has paid off. Those of you who've been here for a while, you feel it too. You've been validated. You were right. We were right. But here's the kicker. This is still just the beginning. We haven't even scratched the surface. It's only going to get bigger from here. Now, of course, on the path to building wealth in crypto, there are always going to be people trying to throw wrenches in the gears. Case in point, I saw this take recently from a commentator who said, Bitcoin Maxis are basically the marketing team for XRP, and they don't even realize it. And honestly, that's hilariously true. Look, I enjoy calling out the nonsense that comes from the more toxic corners of the Bitcoin maximalist crowd. It's fun, but more importantly, it's about correcting the record, because when they push out straight-up lies about XRP, yeah, I'm going to talk about it. I'll call it out right here on YouTube every time. But here's the funny part. Their obsession with XRP is actually helping us. These Bitcoin diehards don't even see it, but they're unintentionally promoting XRP. Think about it. The people already on their side, they're not going anywhere. The people on our side, already convinced. So who's left? Newcomers, the blank slates, the fresh faces just entering the crypto space. And when those newcomers hear all this noise from Bitcoin Maxis bashing XRP, guess what some of them do? They research, they dig in, and they realize the truth for themselves. And more often than not, those people end up on our side. Because the facts are the facts, XRP does make sense. It's functionally useful. It's not the scam the Maxis make it out to be. So ironically, the more they scream, the more attention XRP gets, and the more it grows. They're funneling new, Investors write into XRP and they don't even realize it. Can't make this stuff up. So here's the original post everyone was referencing. It came from Deep San, an XRP community member. And what he said really stuck with me. After all these years, I've realized something. Bitcoin Maxis are basically XRP's marketing team. Every time they bash XRP, more people discover how valuable it really is. So thanks, Maxis. XRP wouldn't be where it is today without your help. And you know what? That is absolutely spot on. XRP is hands down one of the most useful digital assets ever created, especially for payments. It's not hype, it's just truth. And whether the haters realize it or not, their constant attacks are just bringing more attention to XRP. And here's the part I really want to drive home. Even now, in 2025, we are still early. It may not feel that way to newcomers, but talk to me in 10 years. I guarantee you'll look back and realize just how early this moment really was. Eventually, yes, the early days will be behind us. When that happens, the kinds of massive returns we've seen in crypto, the double, triple, 10x gains won't be as easy to come by. As more capital floods in and the space matures, those percentage gains will shrink. But we're not there yet. There is still room for everyday people like you, like me, to make life-changing financial progress in this space. That's been one of the core messages of this channel from the beginning. You don't need to be an expert. You don't need special connections. You just need to make smart choices, stick to them, and let time do its thing. And listen, I'm not rich because I'm some financial wizard. I'm just a regular guy who saw the opportunity and committed to it. I adjusted my spending habits, skipped the unnecessary stuff, and funneled more into crypto because I believe in what's coming. If you're new here, I want you to feel empowered. That's what I'm trying to share, a message of possibility. You absolutely can do this, but you've got to take responsibility and be intentional about it. I'm not saying to put everything into crypto. I'm not saying to go without joy. But maybe you skip the $70,000 car, or pass on the expensive vacation that goes straight on a credit card, and instead, you decide to build something bigger for your future. That's where the life-changing potential comes in, when you delay gratification now for something that can completely transform your financial future later. So yes, you can absolutely get rich in crypto. Just don't screw it up. Of course, I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing I say is financial advice. You should never buy or sell anything just because of what I say. Always do your own research and think for yourself.